The courtroom is quiet, but the tension is loud. Kody Brown sits still in his chair, feeling like a storm cloud is hanging over him with every accusation. Robyn's hands shake as she holds her notes and her heart beats like a clock ticking down. She looks back and forth between Kody and the judge. People outside are whispering quickly. What is about to happen behind these heavy oak doors could break their family apart forever. Stay tuned, because what happens next will surprise you, no matter how much you think you know about the sister wives. Hit the like button and subscribe, because this story will make you doubt every secret, every lie, and every betrayal that was hidden. The tall windows in the courtroom let in morning light, which makes long shadows on the polished floors. Christine is sitting at the far end of the gallery with her jaw tight and her fingers crossed. A storm is brewing just under her calm surface. Janelle's eyes move quickly to Meri, who looks away and presses her lips together like a weak shield. Every wife has her own set of problems, and they are all getting worse. The air smells faintly of polished wood, ink, and stress, and it's so thick that it feels like it's hard to breathe. The judge, a strict woman with sharp eyes that see everything, starts the session. We are here today to look at the claims made by the parties in this case. Please continue, counsel. Kody shifts and swallows hard as his lawyer starts to explain the case. Claims of poor money management, emotional neglect, and secret alliances flood the room like water from a broken dam. Every word hits hard, and the spaces between statements are silent. Christine leans in and speaks softly but sharply. This isn't just about numbers, she says, looking straight at Kody. It's about trust, about promises that were broken. Her words hurt because they remind her of all the little betrayals that have happened in the past and are now clear. Robyn holds on to her notes more tightly across the room, and Kody's face shows a flash of worry. People who saw it happen are called. One by one, they talk about nights full of quiet fights, secret phone calls, and unspoken tension that has been building up for years. Janelle's testimony is full of tears that are raw and honest, showing a picture of love and loyalty that is beyond repair. The tension is so high that every word could start an emotional explosion. Outside the courtroom, cameras are waiting. Outside the doors, the world is ready to eat up every piece of drama, but inside, the real fight is very personal. Kody's face gets tense, and the judge raises her hand to signal a break. We will take a break until after lunch, she says, but no one moves. Eyes are locked and hearts are racing. Everyone in the room is thinking, planning, and getting ready for the storm to start again. When the gavel hits, Janelle whispers something to Meri that breaks the tension. He doesn't even see it coming, and in that short, scary moment, it's clear that nothing will ever be the same in this courtroom again. The courtroom starts up again after lunch, and the air is thick and almost suffocating. The sunlight has changed, making the shadows sharper and cutting across the polished wooden floors. This makes the tension on everyone's face stand out. Kody sits stiffly, with his hands folded so tightly that they look like they might crumple. He keeps glancing nervously at each of his wives. Robyn's breathing is shallow and hard to hear as she tries to calm down by holding on to the edges of the bench like a lifeline. Christine leans back with her arms crossed and a carefully neutral look on her face, but the twitch in her jaw shows that she is angry. The judge calls the next witness, and everyone in the room shifts, the air thick with excitement. Janelle gets up first and walks slowly and carefully, as if she is carrying not only her own words but also the weight of years of silent anger. She sits down and looks around the room until she finally finds Kody. The tension is almost too much to handle, like the electricity in the air before a storm. She breathes out, and even though her voice is quiet, it cuts through the silence. I've stayed quiet for too long, she says, her eyes glinting with tears she won't let fall. I've seen choices made behind closed doors, promises broken, and loyalties put to the test. And now, I can't stay quiet any longer. Each word hits Kody like a blow, and he flinches, a small change in his posture that doesn't go unnoticed. Christine leans forward, her voice sharp and almost cutting the air. Janelle, Are you saying that we have been involved? Her question is full of fear and accusation, and it's a careful mix of both. Everyone in the room holds their breath. Janelle shakes her head slowly. No, not involved. But they know. And I believe it's time for someone to be held responsible, not for what we did, but for what was hidden. She looks around the courtroom, and her eyes briefly land on Meri, whose face turns pale and her hands shake as she clasps them tightly. The testimony goes on, and a pattern starts to show up. Witness after witness talks about small things like hidden bank statements, whispered fights in empty hallways, and late-night phone calls that are only now being revealed. Like storm clouds gathering overhead, each story adds to the tension of the last. The courtroom gets smaller and smaller, as if the walls are closing in on everyone inside. Kody's lawyer tries to take control of the story, but it doesn't work. The stories are too real and too bad. Robyn's eyes start to tear up as she thinks back to times when she felt left out, controlled, or pushed aside. Christine shifts around uncomfortably, her lips pressed together in a thin line. She knows that her sharp wit and careful plans can't change the weight of the truths that have built up over time. Then there is a break in the testimony, a brief pause. The judge's gavel strikes once, loudly, and the sound echoes through the room. "We will take a short break," she says, but no one moves. Everyone is holding their breath and waiting as if they know the real storm is just getting started. When the court opens again, the tension is at an all-time high. A witness comes forward who no one expected. As the person takes the stand, the gallery whispers in low voices and their eyes widen. Just knowing who they are is enough to make waves in the room. An old family friend who has watched the Browns' private lives for years and whose testimony could change everything. The witness starts by saying, "I have watched this family for more than 10 years. Their voice is steady but firm. And I have seen patterns of deception, exclusion, and manipulation that have quietly shaped every decision." Each word hits Kody like a hammer, and his hands turn into fists, making his knuckles turn white. Robyn bites her lip to keep from reacting, and Christine's face hardens into a mask of defiance that can't fully hide the fear underneath. Janelle swallows hard, and her face shows a lot of emotion as memories that have been buried for a long time start to come back. Every memory shared in the courtroom seems to make it pulse, private dinners that went wrong, betrayals whispered in the night, and alliances that changed without anyone knowing. The witness carefully lays out the evidence, creating a picture that is impossible to ignore or dismiss. The moment gets heavier. Kody stands up, his voice shaking a little, and tries to answer, but the words get stuck in his throat. I never meant to. His defense weakens as the weight of all the accusations bears down on him. Robyn is looking at him with her eyes, looking for honesty and a sign that the man she used to trust is still there somewhere in the middle of all the chaos. Christine leans in, and her voice is sharp, almost poisonous. "Kody, intentions don't matter. What you do matters, and the things we've done speak louder than anything you could say." Her words hit him right in the heart, breaking through the weak defenses he's been trying to keep up. The courtroom is quiet again. Her words hang in the air like smoke long after she says them. When Meri finally speaks, her voice is barely audible at first and shakes with a mix of fear and courage. I've been quiet too. I thought that not saying anything would keep the peace. But now I know that staying quiet has only made things worse. I want the truth out there. Her confession hangs in the room like a small, fragile candle flame, bright enough to show parts of the story that were hidden before. The judge nods, recognizing how brave it is to speak up after years of being quiet. "Thanks for being honest. This process needs every point of view." But the stress doesn't go away. It gets thicker, like a storm that won't break, just waiting for the right time to let loose its rage. The afternoon goes on, with each testimony adding a new layer of complexity, a new thread of betrayal, emotion, and human weakness. Janelle's calm strength is different from Christine's sharp edges, Robyn's quiet pain, and Meri's growing but hesitant courage. Kody is in the middle, and the pressure is building as the weight of shared histories and hidden truths bears down on him like an unending tide. As the court gets closer to the last testimonies of the day, a shocking new piece of information comes to light. Financial records that were previously hidden show that decisions and transactions were made without everyone's full consent. The room reacts in small but noticeable ways, eyebrows go up, lips part, and everyone takes a breath. Kody's face goes pale, and for the first time the air of control he has tried to keep up breaks, revealing a weakness that no one saw coming. Robyn's hands shake as she thinks about what happened. The truth hits her, decisions made years ago, promises broken in secret, alliances formed in the dark, all of these things have led to this moment of public reckoning. Christine's sharp eyes narrow as she takes in every detail, ready to use this information if she needs to. Then, as if the tension had reached its peak, the gavel strikes again. The judge says, "We will stop for the day." But her words don't bring any comfort or relief. The storm is not over yet. Everyone who takes part leaves with heavy thoughts, minds racing, and emotions on display. The courtroom is empty, but the sounds of the day stay with you, promising more fights to come. A quiet conversation starts in the hallway. Janelle leans toward Meri and speaks in a low, intense voice. "Tomorrow, everything will be different. You'll see who stands and who falls." Her eyes flash with determination, and the threat that isn't said hangs in the air like electricity. Kody walks by with his head down, feeling the weight of responsibility in ways that words can't describe. The next morning, the courtroom feels heavier than it ever has. The sunlight creeps in through the high windows, but it doesn't do much to ease the heavy tension. Kody sits up straight, his hands clasped tightly, his knuckles white, and his jaw set as if he were holding back a storm. Robyn moves around uncomfortably next to him, putting a hand on her heart as if to slow down the fear and excitement beating in her chest. Christine walks in quietly, her sharp eyes scanning the room and her every step showing that she is ready for anything. Janelle and Meri follow, silent but tense. The things they learned yesterday are still weighing heavily on their minds. The judge clears her throat, and the room instantly goes quiet. "We will continue with testimony that may help us understand the more complicated family relationships and money problems that brought us here," she says. She speaks in a calm voice, but her piercing gaze warns everyone that no detail will go unnoticed. The first witness today is a financial advisor who has been able to see the Browns' accounts for years. The advisor steps up with confidence and opens a thick folder of papers. Over the past 10 years, the advisor begins, his voice calm but clear, "I have looked at many transactions that seem to have happened without the full consent of everyone involved. Some were small, but others could be seen as intentionally hiding financial activity." Kody swallows hard and grips the bench tighter. Robyn's eyes get a little bigger, and her lips are pressed together. Christine leans in, almost like a predator, and listens closely. Janelle closes her eyes for a moment and takes a deep breath to calm down. The courtroom is tense, and the air is full of unspoken accusations. The witness goes through transaction after transaction, pointing out times when some financial choices were made without talking to the whole family. At first, it was small amounts, then bigger amounts, loans that were never mentioned, and accounts that seemed to be hidden on purpose. The witness's words make the room feel like a pressure cooker that is about to blow up. Meri moves around in her seat nervously. I didn't know," she starts, her voice shaking. Kody looks at her and feels guilty. Robyn leans forward, her face showing a mix of shock and relief. Finally, some of the things she thought were true are out in the open. Christine's sharp voice cuts through the stress. "This proves what I've been saying for years," she says, her voice steady but full of cold satisfaction. The witness goes on, giving a detailed account of dates, amounts, and inconsistencies. Every new piece of information hits like a hammer. The judge pays close attention and sometimes writes notes, which is a silent sign to everyone that nothing is being missed. Then, when an unexpected letter comes in, the mood in the room changes completely. The envelope has yellowed edges and handwriting that looks familiar. Kody's eyes flash with fear and he moves around uncomfortably. Robyn's hand almost automatically goes to her mouth and Janelle leans forward, interested. Christine's eyebrows rise and her suspicion rises like a warning light. The judge slowly opens the letter and reads it out loud. To whom it may concern, the following information has been kept secret, but it is very important that the truth be told. There are stories, conversations, and actions that were meant to be kept secret from the family and the public. Accountability must be demanded, and consequences are coming. People gasp in shock in the courtroom. Kody's face gets even paler and his knuckles grip the edge of the bench as if he is trying to hold himself together. Robyn's eyes are full of tears, but she is trying to stay calm. Christine leans back a little, her face unreadable but her mind working on every word. Janelle lets out a long breath, letting the weight of the news wash over her like a wave hitting a cliff. The judge wants more information. Who wrote this letter? Why? She asks, her voice strong and commanding. The witness shrugs, showing that they are upset. It was sent without a name, but the information matches what I've seen in records, they say. The room goes quiet again, and the tension is almost palpable. No one knows what secrets the letter holds, but everyone can tell it will be explosive. Christine leans forward, and her voice breaks the silence. Anonymous or not, it proves what we've all thought. Someone knew what was going on and did something about it. Now the question is, who? Her sharp gaze locks on Kody, who swallows and looks away. The pressure builds in a way that feels almost physical. The next witness is a longtime family friend who has seen the Browns for many years. Their testimony adds a very personal touch to the money claims, talking about times when they were manipulated, whispered arguments, and decisions that weren't fully explained. Janelle's hands tighten around her notes, and her face shows a mix of anger and satisfaction. Robyn blinks quickly, taking in every word, while Christine's face hardens as she thinks about how each new piece of information could help her case in court. Finally, Meri speaks up. Her voice shakes at first, but it gets stronger. I've kept quiet to protect everyone, but after hearing these stories, I know that staying quiet has been wrong. Tell me the truth, no matter how painful. Her words echo in the quiet courtroom, hitting each person in a different way. Kody finally stands up, his voice shaking but strong. He looks around the courtroom and says, I never meant to hurt anyone. I made choices that I thought were best at the time. I didn't know the consequences would go this far. His attempt to explain hits a wall of. The afternoon goes on with testimony that switches between heated arguments and careful accounts of the facts. Robyn is quietly taking it all in, Janelle is fighting to stay calm, Christine is sharp and analytical, and Meri is becoming more and more determined. Kody's defenses keep falling apart, word by word and witness by witness. Then, the most shocking thing happens. A recorded conversation that no one expected to hear is played. The recording has voices talking about money issues and personal problems, things that were not known to the public before. Everyone in the room is speechless. Kody moves around uncomfortably, covering part of his face with his hand. Robyn gasps quietly, and Janelle leans forward, eyes wide and heart racing. Christine's lips curl up a little, a small smile of satisfaction. The judge stops for a moment to let the recording's weight sink in. We will now hear what those involved have to say, she says in a clear voice. Kody has a hard time answering, his voice is low and tense. I didn't expect... He starts, but then he stops, because the shock of being exposed makes him speechless. Robyn's voice shakes as she talks to the court. I trusted him. I had faith in us. And hearing this, It's too much. Her eyes are shining, and she can't stop crying even though she tries to stay calm. Janelle's voice is steadier now, but the feeling is still strong. I've tried to be patient and keep the peace, but there are limits. This is something we can't ignore. Christine leans back with her arms crossed, showing that she is in charge. Kody, actions have consequences. The record doesn't lie, and neither does the history we've lived through. Her words hit everyone like a thunderclap, making everything clear and certain. A final witness comes in, someone who knows the family very well and has evidence that had been hidden until now. Every letter, email, and photo shows layers of secrecy, emotion, and betrayal. Kody's posture slumps a little, Robyn clasps her hands in quiet despair, Janelle leans forward with wide eyes, and Christine's gaze is sharp as she figures out what will happen. The judge stops the review of the evidence, his voice firm but calm. This ends today's testimonies. We will meet again tomorrow to hear closing statements and talk about what they mean. But the tension doesn't go away. Everyone knows that the secrets are far from over. Everyone in that room is thinking about all the possibilities, alliances, and consequences that are yet to happen. People are talking more and more loudly in the hallways outside. Janelle looks at Meri with a low, determined voice. Everything changes tomorrow. Get ready, you'll see who stands and who falls. Robyn follows behind, unsure but determined. Christine walks alone, her face unreadable, and she takes each step carefully and thinks about it. Kody stays behind, head down, feeling the weight of being exposed in ways that words can't describe. When everyone comes back in for the second day of testimony, the courtroom is almost too tense to bear. The air is thick and heavy with anticipation, as if the walls are holding their breath. Kody sits still in his chair, hands on the edge of the bench, and his jaw is tight. Robyn's hands are folded in her lap, and her fingers are nervously interlacing. Her eyes move quickly between Kody, Christine, and Janelle. Christine walks in with her back straight and every step planned out. Her eyes scan the room like a predator's. Janelle and Meri follow, quiet but on guard, their minds preparing for what they know will be the hardest session yet. The judge calls the court to order in a calm but firm voice. Today, we will hear the most sensitive testimonies about emotional harm, broken trust, and hidden conflicts within the family structure. Please proceed carefully. The words hang in the air, a warning that what is about to be revealed could change everything. The first witness is a close family friend who has seen the Browns interact for years. The mood gets tense as they take the stand. Every step the witness takes makes a sound that adds to the suspense. The witness talks slowly, with each word carefully chosen. I've seen fights that never got resolved, conversations that were kept quiet, and choices that were made in secret. These things have left scars on my heart that will never go away. Kody's face gets tight, and he stands up straight. Robyn's lips are pressed together, and her eyes are filling with tears that she won't let fall. Janelle leans forward, listening carefully, and her hands are clenched in excitement. Christine's eyes narrow as she thinks about every possible outcome. The whole courtroom seems to be holding its breath. The witness talks about private fights, whispered arguments, and times when they felt betrayed that had not been seen by the public before. Every story shows a different crack in the family's foundation. The wives' feelings change one by one as each new piece of information comes to light. Robyn swallows hard and blinks quickly while Christine's face hardens with a mix of satisfaction and anger. As each memory comes back to her in vivid detail, Janelle's face tightens and tears threaten to flow. Meri moves in her seat, her hands shaking as she prepares for the truth. The court is quiet for a moment, and you can almost feel the tension. Then, out of the blue, the witness pulls out a bunch of handwritten letters that are very personal and intimate. The letters show feelings of anger, hurt, and vulnerability that were previously hidden. Kody's eyes get a little bigger as he reads a line out loud with the witness's help, and his voice starts to shake. I didn't know people thought that way. Robyn's voice shakes as she speaks to the court, and tears are falling freely now. We all wanted peace. We all wanted to be loved. And yet, secrets and silence have broken everything we tried to protect. Her words ring out in the room, a mix of grief and accusation that makes the air feel heavy and charged. Christine stands up, her voice sharp and clear. Kody, it's not just about what you want. When the results are this bad, intentions don't matter. Years of lies have passed, and now it's time to face the consequences. The courtroom is quiet again, and everyone feels the weight of her words. The witness goes on to talk about times when private conversations were leaked, alliances changed without anyone knowing, and loyalties were tested in ways that most people outside the family wouldn't understand. Each story shows a family that is about to fall apart because trust has broken down and the base is weak. Robyn holds her hands tightly together to keep herself steady, and Kody's body stiffens with each word. Janelle's eyes shine with determination because she knows that every detail she shares makes her case stronger. Christine stays calm, but the way her jaw is tight shows how important this is to her. Out of nowhere, the witness pulls out an audio recording, which is another piece of evidence that no one saw coming. As the recording plays, the room gets quiet and voices overlap in anger, frustration, and pain. Kody winces and briefly covers his face as the content shows times of manipulation, exclusion, and emotional harm. Robyn gasps softly, the sound barely audible but enough to get the attention of those around her. Christine's lips curl up a little, showing a mix of pleasure and careful planning. Meri leans forward, her voice shaking but firm. This proves what we've all felt but couldn't put into words. Silence only let the pain grow. Her confession hits home, with every word showing how fragile and complicated their family relationships are. The judge stops for a moment to let the recording's effect sink in. She says, "Now we will move on to questions from the lawyers." The lawyers take turns digging deeper into emotional wounds and hidden problems. Questions are sharp, clear, and sometimes cruel. Kody's answers start to falter, and his calmness starts to show in small but noticeable ways. Robyn's eyes fill with tears again, but she keeps her head up and listens carefully to what the people who are talking to her say that confirms what she's always thought. The session is getting closer to its emotional peak. A surprise witness is called, a former close aide to Kody who knows a lot about how the family works. Their testimony is shocking, describing times of favoritism, secret alliances, and emotional manipulation. There are quiet gasps and people changing their positions in the room. Kody leans back and closes his eyes for a moment, as if he is getting ready for something to happen. Robyn presses her lips together and opens her eyes wide, showing a mix of fear and relief. Janelle's hands shake and tears well up as she listens, while Christine's face gets even more serious. The witness talks about a fight years ago that the other wives didn't know about. It was over a big family decision and left scars that will last. Everyone in the courtroom leans in to take in every detail. You can feel the tension in the air like it's a living thing pressing down on everyone. Then comes the most moving part so far. Meri stands up, her voice shaky but firm. "I kept quiet for a long time, hoping things would get better, but now I see that not talking made the pain worse. I want the truth to come out, even if it hurts me." Tears stream down her face, and the raw honesty cuts through the tension like a knife. Kody moves, clearly shaken, the weight of responsibility pressing down on him in a way that words can't describe. Christine stands up and speaks to the court in a strong voice. "Kody, your actions have consequences. The truth is finally here, and it can't be ignored." The words hung in the air, heavy and undeniable, like a clap of thunder. Janelle steps forward, and even though there is a storm inside her, her voice is steady. "I've tried to keep the peace and protect the family, but the truth has to come first. We can't move on until we face our secrets head on," she says. Her words hit home with everyone in the courtroom. Kody's hands are gripping the edge of the bench, and his knuckles are white. Robyn's shoulders shake as she tries to stay calm. Christine pays close attention, taking in every word and reaction. The judge nods, showing that he understands how brave and strong the testimonies are. She says, "We will take a short break, but it's hard to leave because the room is so full of energy." Everyone's mind is racing as they try to make sense of what has been revealed and what is still to come. People are talking in whispers in the hall outside. They're worried, guessing, and tense. Janelle leans toward Meri and speaks softly but sharply. "Everything changes tomorrow. Get ready, you'll see who really stands and who falls." Robyn follows, unsure but determined, while Christine walks alone, her face unreadable as she thinks about all the possible outcomes. Kody stays there, head down, feeling the weight of the exposure in ways he can't even fully explain. As soon as the doors open, the courtroom is tense. The tall windows let in some light, but it can't make the heavy feeling that everyone has go away. Kody is in the middle of it all, with stiff shoulders and pale knuckles gripping the edge of the bench. Robyn fidgets next to him, her fingers crossed in her lap as she swallows nervously. Christine walks in with purpose, her eyes sharp and calculating. Janelle and Meri follow quietly, their hearts racing, knowing that today will push everyone to their emotional limits. The judge calls the court to order with a loud bang of her gavel that echoes through the room. We will keep hearing testimonies about the family's emotional problems and unresolved disagreements. Please be careful, as the evidence presented today will be very important in deciding the case. Her voice was calm but sharp, signaling that the most dramatic parts of the trial had finally begun. The first witness is a former assistant who has been watching the family for years and knows how things work. They have folders full of letters, pictures, and personal journals, each of which could be a bombshell. They start by saying, "I have seen times of tension, secrecy, and manipulation that most of this family did not know about." Their voice is steady but firm. "I am here to make sure that the truth is fully told." Kody shifts uncomfortably in his chair, glancing nervously at each wife. Robyn's hand is over her mouth, as if she is trying to hold back a gasp. Janelle leans forward and grips the bench with her hands while she looks at every detail the witness gives. Christine crosses her arms tightly, and her face is unreadable, but every muscle in her body is tense. The witness opens the first folder, and the room holds its breath as letters written years ago come to light, detailing frustrations and accusations that had been carefully kept from the public. The witness reads aloud parts that talk about times when family members were emotionally neglected, favored, or made secret decisions that broke trust. Every new piece of information hits like a hammer and echoes through the courtroom. Kody's face tightens with guilt, Robyn swallows hard, her eyes filling with tears, and Janelle's jaw tightens. Her whole body is full of controlled rage. Christine's eyes shine with a mix of satisfaction and careful planning. She takes in every word and stores it for later use. As more papers are shown, the room gets heavier. There are pictures of fights, journals that describe private fights, and emails that show alliances that were secretly formed. Every new piece of evidence makes the long hidden tensions that have turned into open wounds clearer. Kody moves in his seat again, and you can see that his defenses are falling apart under the weight of all the truth that has come out. Meri stands up a little in her chair, her voice shaking but getting stronger. "I've been quiet for so long, hoping things would get better. But now I realize that not talking made the pain worse. I want the truth to be known, even if it hurts me." Her confession echoes through the courtroom, hitting everyone who is still feeling something deep down. Robyn looks at her, and their eyes shine with understanding. Janelle's hands tighten as she leans forward, fully absorbed in the revelation. The witness changes their tone, making audio recordings that had never been played in court before. The recordings are unedited and show fights, whispered arguments, and moments of betrayal. Kody jumps when he hears voices, including his own, coming through the speakers. Robyn gasps softly and tears fall down her face. Christine watches with her lips pressed together, silently looking for ways to use every word. Janelle's eyes narrow, her feelings mixed with determination, and Meri shakes as she hears the painful memories come to life. The recording builds up to a fight between Kody and one of the wives, during which words are exchanged that show manipulation and favoritism that had been denied for a long time. The tension in the courtroom is so high that the evidence feels like it could crush everyone. Kody sits back, his face pale and his hands shaking a little as he tries to calm down. Robyn's voice cracks as she whispers, I can't believe this. The judge says to take a short break, but no one leaves right away. Everyone stays in their seats, taking in how intense what has just been revealed is. People are whispering in the hallway outside the courtroom. Janelle turns to Meri and speaks in a low but firm voice. Everything changes tomorrow. We'll see who can handle the stress and who can't. Christine walks by without saying a word, and Kody stays seated with his head bowed, feeling the weight of being exposed with every heartbeat. The court comes back together, and the next witness, a former family counselor who had worked with the Browns for years, is called. Their testimony goes into how long-term secrets and favoritism have affected the wives' mental and emotional health. The emotional strain caused by hidden decisions and perceived favoritism can be devastating, the counselor says. It can break trust, make people angry, and hurt relationships for a long time. Robyn leans forward, feeling both sad and relieved as she hears the words. They confirm what she has always felt, but never said. Janelle's fists tighten on the bench, and her eyes flash with anger and satisfaction. Christine sits up straight and pays close attention to every word. Kody moves again, trying to respond, but no defense seems strong enough to stand up to the counselor's testimony about the psychological truth. The counselor talks about specific times when Kody's decisions, which were often made with good intentions, ended up hurting people emotionally. Letters and records are presented, revealing attempts to mediate conflicts that were ineffectively conducted or deliberately concealed. Every new piece of information reveals hidden layers of family tension that had been building up. Then there is the most shocking news yet, a series of emails, some of which were deleted and later found through forensic examination, show not only conflicts within the organization but also outside attempts to affect or control outcomes. The emails show that some people made alliances in secret, some to protect themselves and others to get back at someone. People in the courtroom gasp, shift their posture, and look tight-lipped, which is a subtle but clear sign of their reaction. Meri gets up, her voice strong and tears streaming down her face. I can't stay quiet any longer. These secrets and hidden plans have hurt everyone. I want accountability, truth, and acknowledgement of what has been done. Her words hit like a bolt of lightning, filling the room with emotion. Robyn reaches over and touches Meri's arm lightly to show support. Janelle leans in and says in a low but angry voice, "We can't act like everything is fine anymore. We have to face the truth." Kody finally speaks, but his voice shakes. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I thought I was making the right choices. I never thought it would cause so much pain. His attempt to explain falls flat, unable to break through the strong evidence against him. Christine's eyes narrow, and she is ready to say something calm but cutting. Things get even more tense when another surprise witness is called, a stranger who saw a fight between family members years ago. Their story is damning, revealing carefully hidden instances of emotional manipulation, favoritism, and exclusion. The courtroom is quiet, and the weight of every word is clear. Robyn's hands shake as she holds on to the bench. Janelle's eyes are on fire with a mix of anger and victory. Meri stands, shaking but determined. Christine's face is hard to read as she thinks about what this means for the trial. Kody sits there, pale and tense, knowing that every effort to control the story is falling apart. The witness shows a recording of a family meeting where alliances were made in secret, decisions were changed, and truths were kept hidden on purpose. Every voice and every word shows emotional cracks that no one can deny. Robyn bites her lip to keep from crying out, Kody's hands shake, and Janelle leans forward, barely breathing, as the evidence confirms what they have long suspected. Christine watches in silence, figuring out what to do next in this high-stakes emotional chess game. The judge stops for a moment to let the evidence sink in. "We will continue with questions from the lawyers," she says in a calm but firm voice. The lawyers ask questions that get to the heart of each wife's emotional experience, forcing Kody to face the effects of things he has kept secret for a long time. The courtroom is quiet but buzzing with energy as the session comes to an end. Everyone knows that the things that were said today will have an impact on the trial's outcome. There are a lot of rumors and whispers in the hallways outside the courtroom. Janelle speaks to Meri in a low but firm voice. Tomorrow, we'll see who has the strength to stand and who will fall. Kody stays still, head down, overwhelmed by the truth that keeps coming.